Take a deep breath. Allow this moment to reach your heart. No, you didn't get here by chance. It wasn't the algorithm, it wasn't luck, it wasn't distraction. It was me. I brought you. I led you here because there is something that heaven urgently needs to reveal to you. Since the last few days, I have seen the signs in your heart. The turmoil in the soul. The jumbled thoughts. That silence that screams inside while the world thinks you're okay. I saw when you tried to distract yourself, when you tried to move forward alone, when you held back your tears so as not to worry anyone. But I don't get distracted. I don't pass by you as someone who doesn't see. I know you deep down. And today, with all my love and all my authority, I come to tell you, heaven moved for you. I sent Archangel Michael. Yes, the prince of my army. The one who fights the battles you can't even see. He did not come with a sword to hurt you, but to protect you. To warn you. To cut, with divine precision, that which is stealing from you in silence. You have felt an oppression that you cannot explain. There are nights when sleep doesn't come, and others when you even dream, but wake up more tired than you went to sleep. You've tried to rationalize it, you've thought it was just tiredness, but I tell you, it's spiritual. There's a battle raging all around you, and you're at the center of it. But fear not. I already entered this war. Miguel is already positioned. And it all starts now. Here. At this very moment when you hear my voice. I'm talking to you. With you who thought about giving up. With you who said, in thought, that you couldn't take it anymore. I listened. I was present. And I come to remind you that your pain did not go unnoticed. Not one of your tears fell to the ground without purpose. I saw when you were hurt by words that weren't spoken out loud, but hurt more than screams. I saw when that person, yes, that same one, ripped your peace away little by little, while you still insisted on calling love what was, in fact, a bond of oppression. Today I bring you light. Today I bring you discernment. Because the enemy has acted subtly. It does not appear as many imagine, but disguises itself as care, affection, and good intentions. And I know how much you have confused this with true love. But I am love itself, and I tell you clearly, love that hurts does not come from me. Love that exhausts, that silences your voice, that makes you feel small, does not carry my essence. And that's why I sent Miguel. To protect what is most precious in you, your heart, your identity, your purpose. Do not resist the truth that I am revealing. I know it hurts to admit. I know you wanted it to be different. May that person change. That everything suddenly fell into place. But continuing in this cycle is moving you away from what I planned with so much zeal. That's why today, now, I breathe into your spirit. Comment, God is speaking to me now. Not as a ritual, but as an act of faith. Like a spiritual seal that confirms that this word has reached you. What I'm about to show you will open your eyes. It will free your soul. It will restore your strength. But you need to continue. Don't allow anything to distract you now. May you listen to the end. Because I'm not just going to talk. I will act. And you will know, with certainty, that it is I. Your God. Your Father. The one who never abandoned you, even when everything seemed silent. Take a deep breath again. This is just the beginning of something extraordinary. You know who I'm talking about. I see the restlessness in your heart every time that person approaches. I see the discomfort that tries to be disguised with forced smiles and rehearsed words. You feel your soul weighing down, but you try to justify it by saying it's all in your head. And it isn't. What you are feeling is real. It's spiritual. This presence is not being used by me. And the more you try to fit it into the plan I have designed, the further you move away from the purpose I have for your life. Have you ever noticed how confused your thoughts become after talking to her? Have you noticed how your faith wavers, how peace disappears, how hope wanes? This is not normal. This is not love. This is a spiritual bond trying to keep you trapped in a cycle that should have already ended. And I, who formed you with my own hands, who wrote each page of your story with zeal, will not allow you to continue ignoring the signals I am sending. I saw everything. I saw when she surrounded you with sweet words, but loaded with dark intentions. I saw her use silence as punishment, making you feel small, guilty, unworthy. I saw when you tried to talk and were ignored, when you opened up and were used, when you did your best and received crumbs in return. And yet, you tried once again. Even though you were hurt, you continued to believe that you could restore something that I myself did not plant. I know it hurts. I know it's not easy to accept that someone you've given so much love to can be an instrument of emotional destruction. But I don't call you to be easy. I call you to the true. For what builds. For what brings you closer to me. And this relationship, this bond, this presence, no matter how much you try to spiritualize it, does not come from me. Because I do not use anyone to confuse, manipulate, hurt or keep you away from your purpose. Miguel did not come with a sword to punish, but to free. He came to cut what you, in your human strength, cannot break. He is working right now, breaking invisible bonds, breaking lies that were sown in your heart, breaking emotional alliances that were not made under my blessing. You feel like you are being pulled back, as if something is sucking your energy, your faith, your will to live. And that's exactly what happens when you insist on keeping someone close who should have already been left behind. You don't have to carry this weight alone. You don't need to stay in this cycle for fear of loneliness. I'm with you. I am enough. And I will not allow them to love you halfway, to treat you as an option, to confuse your identity. You have been chosen. You are loved completely. And everything that devalues you, everything that diminishes you, everything that imprisons you emotionally, I am undoing now. But I need you to collaborate with heaven. May you stop justifying the unjustifiable. Stop looking at this person as if they were your salvation. Because she isn't. I am. And it is I who calls you now to take a step of faith. Don't keep that word just to yourself. Share this message with those who also need to open their spiritual eyes. Because there are others who, like you, are trapped in relationships and connections that drain the soul and numb the spirit. I'm waking you up to something greater. I am calling you back to the center of my will. Because the time of blindness is over. Now is the time to see clearly. And what I'm about to reveal will be even deeper, more liberating, more restorative. Miguel did not come in vain. The sky moved for you. And when the sky moves, nothing stays the same. Take a deep breath. Because what comes next will illuminate areas of your life that were in complete darkness. You have been praying in silence. I know. He has said to me with a tired soul, Lord, if this is not for me, show me. And today I come to respond. I come to tear the veil of doubt. I come to take away from you this weight of uncertainty that prevents you from moving forward. This is my answer. This is my voice. It's no coincidence that you're hearing this right now. It's providence. Because when you pray with a sincere heart, I move. I do not ignore a cry that comes from those who seek me with truth. You are not delusional. You're not exaggerating. What you noticed between the lines, what you tried to stifle for fear of being wrong, I confirm, it was real. That anguish in your chest, that inexplicable discomfort, that deep sadness after apparently good moments, it was my spirit warning you. I speak in many ways. And I know that, even though you were confused, you continued asking me for signs. So listen carefully, that's not where you belong. This is not the person who will carry with you the purpose that I designed. You tried, I saw. You forgave more than you should, I saw. You insisted with faith, and even so, the emptiness only grew. There is something sacred happening here. Heaven is intervening to prevent you from continuing to turn around in a cycle that no longer feeds you. Miguel was sent to sever this bond. And this is not punishment. It's deliverance. It's love. I know you wanted a beautiful ending, a new beginning full of hope. But I offer you something greater, a restart with truth, with freedom, with direction. You will no longer be held hostage by the emotional instability of someone who does not honor your value. You no longer need to adjust to what diminishes you. You no longer need to be silent to keep someone close who never really wanted to listen to you. I didn't create you to go around in circles trying to fix what only I can transform, and which I often choose to rip out of your life to preserve your destiny. There are things that seem like losses, but they are answers. There are cuts that hurt now, but heal forever. And that's what I'm doing, healing you from the inside. You are loved. You are important. You are seen. And I don't want you to accept a love that treats you as an option, as a burden, as a background. I want to give you rest. I want to give you a relationship that reflects my peace, not that drains you in the name of hurt feelings. That's why I insist, don't ignore the signs anymore. Don't try any longer to justify what I am already exposing so clearly. You asked for confirmation. And here it is. Now it's your turn to take a step. Not to look back anymore. Of choosing to trust me more than the promises that person never kept. I know there is a silent fear of being alone. But what you still don't understand is that never been alone. In all the moments you cried in secret, I was by your side. When he felt ashamed to tell what he was going through, I already knew. When you asked yourself if you were going crazy, I was keeping you from the lie they tried to plant in your soul. Today I call you to the light. I call you to the beginning of something pure. Miguel is by your side, cutting emotional roots that prevent you from breathing freely. He is clearing the field, removing what you couldn't remove with your own hands. And I need you to trust. May you choose to walk in obedience. Because after this cut, a renewal will come. After obedience, rest will come. After the truth, peace will come. If this word has touched your spirit, if you feel that it is me speaking to you, then do it by faith, like this message, and subscribe to the channel to continue listening to my voice. Because I still have a lot to reveal to you. You don't have to walk in the dark. I am your light. And when you seek me sincerely, I let myself be found. Don't be afraid of what you will lose. Look at what I am giving you: freedom, peace, direction, and a fresh start full of my presence. Take a deep breath. Because what's coming is bigger than you imagined. And it all starts with your decision to listen to me now. You have called love something that I never planted. You have insisted on justifying attitudes that, deep down, hurt you more than they heal. You are trying to turn into a blessing something that started with pain, was filled with pain, and today only gives you pain. I know you wanted it to be different. I wanted that person to change, for the relationship to adjust, for all the effort you put in to be rewarded with a happy ending. But I don't work with fantasies. I work with truth. And the truth is that this connection does not come from me. You lost yourself trying to fit in where you were never called to stay. You diminished yourself to fit expectations that weren't even yours. You silenced your voice to keep someone close who, even though they were present, made you feel alone. And I saw everything. I saw when you cried in silence so as not to worry anyone. I saw you wondering if the problem was you. I saw when you said everything was fine, but inside I no longer recognized who I was. You tried to spiritualize what manipulation was. He thought he was being faithful, when in reality he was sinking into emotional dependence. He gave so many second chances that he forgot to look at his own heart. And yet, I remained by your side. I was patient. I spoke of dreams, of signs, of small alerts in your spirit. But you insisted. I thought it was just a phase. That it was necessary to have faith. And yes, faith is essential. But faith in me, not in an illusion that drags you away from your essence. The love that comes from me does not confuse you. Don't humiliate yourself. It doesn't make you doubt your worth. The love that comes from me brings you closer to truth, light, peace. And if you are living in constant tension, if you have lost joy, if this person's presence brings you more anxiety than rest, then stop. Look with my eyes. I don't want you to continue thinking this is normal. It is not. You are called to live in freedom, not emotional prison. This call is robbing you. Little by little, it has erased its strength, its brightness, its spiritual clarity. You no longer hear my voice like you used to. You no longer feel the same fire in seeking me. You no longer trust yourself, because doubt has taken over. And that doubt, that confusion, that disturbance, these are spiritual symptoms. It's not just a difficult relationship. It is a strategic distraction from the enemy to take you away from who you are in me. I want you to see this. I want you to see that it's not just about one person. It's about your soul. Of your purpose. Of your destiny. This relationship, this bond, this insistence on holding on to something that I have already asked you to let go of, all of this is trapping you in a place where my presence becomes distant, not because I have abandoned you, but because you are surrounded by noises that do not come from me. Have you ever noticed how, whenever you try to walk away, something happens to pull you back? Like there's an invisible force keeping you trapped. This is not love. That's a loop. An emotional, spiritual bond that needs to be broken. And I'm here to do that. But I need you to want it. May you say, enough. May you have the courage to look at the truth without makeup. Because only then does liberation begin. I didn't bring you here to condemn you. I brought you to free you. To open your eyes. To remind you of who you are. You are mine. And whoever is mine does not live hunched over, shrunken, fading away so that someone else can shine. Whoever is mine walks firmly, with clarity, with restored identity. And that's what I'm doing now, calling you back to your essence. You no longer need to beg for affection. You no longer need to beg for attention. You no longer need to hope that someone who doesn't value you realizes your value. I value you. I formed you. I love you with a love that does not require emotional sacrifices. What I have for you is whole, it is true, it is light. And it will arrive. But first, this cycle needs to be closed. Not out of hate. Not out of regret. But for love. Self-love, love for me, love for the glorious future that I have already prepared. Take a deep breath. You are exactly where you need to be to begin to free yourself. And I am with you. You saw care where there was control. You interpreted attention as affection, when in fact it was just well-disguised manipulation. I saw when this started. I saw when that person began to dominate their feelings with sweet words and seemingly affectionate gestures, but which were always accompanied by demands, emotional blackmail, silent imposition. And you, out of love, gave in. Out of fear, he remained silent. Out of hope, he accepted living in pieces. What you feel is not an exaggeration. It's not drama. It's real pain. And I was there every moment you tried to understand what was happening. I saw when you started to question yourself, am I being unfair? Am I exaggerating? Maybe the problem lies with me. No, son. No, daughter. The problem is not you. The problem is that you have been involved in a cycle where the other person is always right, where your discomfort is invalidated, where your commitment is seen as an obligation and not as sincere love. I saw when they used silence as a form of punishment. When that person simply disappeared, they stopped responding to you, as if they wanted you to be afraid of losing them. And you felt it. You despaired. And even when he knew it wasn't fair, he came back and apologized for mistakes he didn't even make. Because the fear of losing spoke louder than self-love. But I did not create you to live under emotional blackmail. I didn't design you to walk on eggshells in a relationship. This person played with your emotions. Sometimes he treated you like everything, other times like nothing. One day it said you were special, the next it made you feel like a burden. And all of this was confused with love because your heart wanted to believe. I wanted that affection to be genuine. I wanted that connection to be pure. But the truth is that the enemy took advantage of your most sincere desires to plant lies disguised as hope. And yet, I remained. I continued to guard you, warning you. And today, with all my authority and all my love, I come to tear this veil from your eyes. I come to show that you are fighting for something that hurts you more than it strengthens you. I come to tell you that you are not wrong for wanting to be loved, but you are hurting yourself trying to extract love from where there is no true root. This is not love, it is dependence. This isn't care, it's control. This is not hope, it is emotional confusion. You have the right to be valued. You have the right to be loved without having to beg for attention. You have the right to be heard without having to beg for dialogue. And I, your Father, am here today to remind you of this. To restore your identity. To free your soul from the invisible prison that has formed around your heart. You still think that if you make one more effort, everything can change. But what I have for you requires no effort to maintain. What comes from me flows in peace. Miguel is cutting off what you are still trying to support with your own feelings. It is cutting the deceit, the cycle, the fear, the guilt. It's cutting so you can breathe lightly again. Because I know you've tried every way. And now it's time to let go. To give me this bond that binds you, so that I can give you something new that sets you free. If you feel that this word is for you, that I am speaking directly to your heart, comment now, 7,777, as an act of faith and spiritual break with everything that does not come from me. This isn't just a number, it's a sign that you have heard, understood, and are willing to break out of this cycle in obedience to my voice. I am your God. And whoever hears my voice and walks according to my direction will never be confused. What today seems like a loss, tomorrow will be a testimony. What seems like pain today will be healing tomorrow. And what is being cut today will make way for what will really make you flourish. You were not created to live in doubt. You were created to live fully. And I am leading you to this now. Take a deep breath. You are being released. And the next revelation that I will bring will confirm everything that your spirit has already begun to feel. Don't stop here. Heaven is just beginning to act. You weren't born to accept so little. I didn't form you with so much zeal, with so much love, with so much purpose, so that you would get used to being treated as a second option. You were not created to live on emotional crumbs, to settle for empty words and gestures that confuse you more than they welcome you. And yet, I saw you trying to make it work. I saw you trying hard to keep something alive that was already dying inside. And even when the pain was greater than the hope, you still thought maybe it was the right path. But now I tell you, this, at least, that you have learned to accept is not my plan for you. At least he answered me. At least she reached out to me. At least he doesn't treat me so badly. This is not love. This is emotional survival. This is getting used to what hurts, what suffocates, what silences the best in you. And I, your Father, will no longer allow you to live in this scarcity. The time of fullness has arrived. What I have prepared for your life does not fit into this relationship that makes you doubt yourself. I have plans of peace, of joy, of stability, of true love. But to live them, you need to let go of what currently occupies that space. And I know that letting go hurts. I know that a part of you is still waiting for a sudden change, a different attitude, proof that you are still worth it. But listen with your heart, what needs to change now is not the other person, it is your decision to stop hurting yourself. You've tried enough. You've already given in, you've already waited. Now it's time to recognize that this story is not taking you to the destiny I designed. It's time to understand that not every connection is eternal, and that some were allowed only to teach, not to remain. This person who takes up so much space in your heart today is holding you back spiritually. It's taking you out of focus. It's taking you away from who you become when you're at peace. Miguel is already working. Cutting invisible ties. Canceling accesses that were given out of need, out of fear, out of confusion. I'm cleansing you inside. And I know that the emptiness will hurt at first, but this emptiness is necessary for the new one to arrive. You cannot carry a wounded past and expect the future to flourish as if nothing had happened. Today, I call you for a reconstruction. For a delivery. For a restructuring of everything you believe about yourself. It is not pride to say, I deserve more. It is wisdom. It is obedience. Because what you tolerate defines what you allow to remain. And I want to teach you to only allow what comes from above. Relationships that build. Conversations that strengthen. Presences that elevate. Words that heal. You were not born to live in fear of losing someone. You were born to live with the certainty that I, your God, will never leave you. And now, as a sign of faith, as a step towards the liberation not only of your life, but of others who live the same struggle in silence, share this message with someone who needs to open their spiritual eyes like you are doing now. This simple act could be the beginning of healing another soul. You have no idea how many lives identify with this pain you know so well. Bring light where there was only confusion. I brought you here because the time for living half-heartedly is over. The time of loving with fear, of waiting with anxiety, of trusting while doubting, is over. Now begins the time of peace that does not depend on anyone other than me. From today onwards, you will walk at a different pace. You will breathe differently. You will look in the mirror and recognize yourself again. Because I am restoring your identity. And no one else will have the power to steal that from you. Take a deep breath. You are not losing. You are being free. You are not falling behind. You are being advanced in my plan. The person who hurt you will no longer control your days. The words that hurt you will no longer be the sound that echoes inside you. The guilt that paralyzed you is now being ripped away. And what I will put in place is peace, strength, and purpose. Stay with me. There is still a lot I want to show you. You thought no one had seen it. That harsh conversation, that icy silence, that cold attitude had gone unnoticed in the eyes of heaven. But I saw everything. I was there when your heart broke in silence, when you forced yourself to smile so as not to worry anyone, when you blamed yourself for reactions that were, in fact, consequences of what they were doing to you. I saw when they provoked you to the limit and then pointed out you as the problem. I saw when they called you exaggerated, difficult, too sensitive, when in fact, they were manipulating your soul. You tried to be strong. He tried to remain calm. He tried to be rational. And even when he felt he was being wronged, he remained silent to avoid conflict. You swallowed words, swallowed sorrows, swallowed pain, just to preserve something that, deep down, only you were fighting to keep. But I saw it. I saw when that person left you talking to yourself, when they disappeared without explanation, when they purposely ignored you to make you feel small, insecure, dependent. And even so, you looked for ways to understand, to justify, to love despite the wound. But today I come to remind you, nothing went unnoticed in my eyes. Your every tear has been counted. Every injustice you endured in silence was recorded. Not because I wanted to see you suffering, but because I am fair. And as a righteous father, I do not ignore what they do to my children. I was there when they said you were the problem. I was there when they held you responsible for pain you didn't cause. I was there when they distorted your words to look like victims in front of others. And today I tell you, enough is enough. You will no longer carry blame that is not yours. You are not difficult to love. You just have a big heart. You're not too intense. You only have true feelings. And whoever used it against you, whoever saw it as a weakness, doesn't deserve you. Because I gave you sensitivity so that you could see the invisible, not so that you could be hurt by those who don't know how to deal with depth. And if someone didn't value this, then it's because that person never had the ability to walk with someone who carries so much light. I am the God who sees. The God who listens. The God who defends in silence, who protects even when he seems to be silent. My silence was never abandonment. It was patience. It was time. It was protection. While you thought I was doing nothing, I was preparing this moment. The moment when you would hear clearly, I have seen it all, and I will not allow it to continue. The cycle is being closed. The injustice is being corrected. The weight is being lifted. Because I am faithful. Because I love you. Because I want you free. And if this word reached you, if you feel that each phrase is touching exactly where your soul needed it, then like this message and subscribe to the channel as an act of faith and obedience. Because when you respond to my voice, you make space for me to continue acting. And I still have a lot to show you. You are not alone. You never were. And from now on, your story will be marked by justice, restoration, and true beginnings. I will honor everything you have endured in silence. I will turn every tear into strength. Each loss in learning. Every injustice in testimony. And that feeling of helplessness that accompanied you will give way to the certainty that I am your father, your defender, your refuge. Take a deep breath. The time for being ignored is over. Now is the time to be restored, protected, and guided by my hands. And what comes next will be even deeper. Because I'm not finished yet. I'm just getting started. You've asked yourself so many times what you did wrong. He tried to find in himself the cause of the distance, the coldness, the indifference. He reviewed conversations, rethought attitudes, analyzed himself inside and out. And the more you tried to understand, the more confused you became. But today I tell you clearly, you are not the problem. The love you offered was true. The care, the zeal, the dedication, they were sincere. You did not sin by loving too much. The mistake was not loving. The mistake was to continue insisting when it was already clear that there was no reciprocity. I saw how you gave of yourself. How he tried to lift those who didn't want to be lifted. How you held both sides of a relationship that only maintained because you sacrificed yourself daily. And yet, when everything fell apart, they blamed it on you. They said you were demanding, needy, too sensitive. And you believed. Because anyone who is hurt accepts any narrative just to try to find an explanation. But I am here now to break that lie. You weren't the problem. You were the bridge that supported something that had already collapsed on the other side. I saw you fighting against the tide. I saw you trying to keep the faith, trying to save, trying to heal with words, with gestures, with forgiveness. You asked for direction. You called for change. You believed in the best. And yet, when the relationship fell apart, you were left with a weight on your shoulders. But son, daughter, this is not justice. And I am righteous. That's why today I take you away from that guilt. I tear you away from this place of silent condemnation. Because you've already accused yourself too much. Too much has already been charged. You've tried too much. And now it's time to rest. Rest in the fact that you cannot save those who do not want to be saved. That you cannot maintain alone what was built on empty promises. That you don't need to bend over backwards to fit into the hearts of those who don't know how to welcome you. Love is not to mold you by force. Love is not to silence you. Love is not to erase you. And if you're feeling small in a relationship, then it's not love, it's oppression. You tried to be a solution to wounds that weren't even yours. He tried to understand the other's silence as a cry for help, when in fact it was just emotional manipulation. You read signs, ignored warnings, insisted on peace when everything screamed war. And that, I saw. I saw how much your heart fought for something you believed to be sacred. And I don't blame you for that. I admire you. Because few love with such purity. But even the purest love needs direction. And that's why I'm here. Not to condemn you, but to remind you that whoever loves also needs to be loved. Those who care also need to be cared for. Whoever offers his heart should not receive it back in pieces. You deserve someone who sees your light and isn't scared. that understands its depth and does not run away. Honor what you offer, and don't play with what you deliver. And if this person you're connected to doesn't know how to deal with it, then it's not your mission to save them. It's mine. And I know the time for everything. Now is the time to forgive yourself. To let go of the guilt. To put aside the questions that were never answered and understand that, sometimes, the other person's silence is the answer you didn't want to hear, but needed to accept. Because while you cling to the what if, you lose the chance to live the what now. That I prepared. One now of restoration. Of lightness. To reunite with your essence. You weren't difficult. You were loyal. You weren't exaggerating. You were whole. And the world tried to convince you that this was wrong. But I, your father, tell you, this is exactly what makes you someone special. Don't change what's beautiful about you because of someone who didn't know how to take care of you. Don't turn off your light to please those who live in darkness. I created you to shine, to inspire, to love, but never to be hurt by it. Breathe. You are not the problem. And now that this truth has reached your heart, the next words that I will bring will transform not only your mind, but also your path. Because from this moment on, you begin to walk free from the weight of guilt. And where there is freedom, there is renewal. And where there is renewal, I am present. I know the confusion that took over your insides. I know you started to forget who you were. Who spent so much time trying to please, trying to understand, trying to fix, that he lost himself within himself. He reached the point of doubting his value, his voice, his worth. And that's exactly why I joined. To restore what was stolen. To remember who you are in me. Because what you experienced didn't erase your essence, it just covered it up. And now, I am blowing away this emotional dust to reveal again the truth about who you are. You no longer recognized yourself. He began to mold himself to fit expectations that were never his. Swallowing words I wanted to say. Giving in when I wanted to assert myself. Smiling when you wanted to cry. Saying, everything is fine, when inside the soul was screaming for help. But I heard this scream. And I didn't just listen, I responded. With presence. With comfort. With liberation. Because I didn't create you to live silent, hunched over, submissive to oppression disguised as a relationship. You are my image. My creation. Carry the breath of life that I deposited in you. And no pain, no rejection, no abandonment has the power to redefine what I have declared about your life. You may have forgotten for a while, but I never stopped seeing you as a son, as a daughter, as an heir to eternal promises. And now, I'm reminding you. Remember that you have value. That has purpose. Which has a place of honor reserved at the table I prepared. Whoever tried to turn off your light only showed how much you shine. Whoever tried to silence your voice only proved how much it bothers the darkness. Those who tried to control their steps never understood that no one can arrest those who were called to fly. And even if for a while you believed the lies they told you, that you were weak, that you were needy, that you would never be enough, today I come to tell you, these words did not come from me. They came from fear, from insecurity, from the enemy's attempt to distort the reflection that I placed before you. But now the mirror of the soul is being cleansed. Now you begin to see yourself again through my eyes. With the eyes of truth. With the eyes of the Spirit. And when that happens, something inside you changes. You don't accept crumbs anymore. No longer bow down to manipulations. Don't lower your head to those who try to diminish you to feel superior. Because those who know their identity in me do not negotiate, do not erase themselves, do not shrink to fit anywhere. Miguel is still by your side. Cutting the last ties that insist on pulling you to the past. He is clearing the route, undoing the emotional traps, giving you space to move forward. And with every step you take towards the truth, I will be there. Confirming. Strengthening. Consoling. Because you won't go back. You will no longer romanticize what hurt you. You will no longer doubt yourself when others question your worth. I am restoring your identity, and with it, your clarity. Your voice will return. Your strength will return. Your ability to dream will return. What seemed erased, broken, lost, is being restored right now. Not because you deserved it, but because you are mine. And I take care of what is mine with zeal, with justice, with love that does not change. You will be surprised at who you are becoming. You will realize that this painful process did not come to destroy you, but to reveal what was dormant. You will look back with compassion for who you were, and with gratitude for who you are becoming. Because now, yes, you walk with dignity, with discernment, with direction. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you while you are anchored in me. What once confused you will now be clear. What once tied you down will now be broken. And what once seemed like the end will be remembered as the turning point. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight lifting off. Feel your soul returning to the right place. You no longer have to fight to be accepted. You have already been accepted by me. And that is enough. Now, stay with me. Because what I will reveal to you in the next words will consolidate everything that started here. And you will never be the same again. You have suffered enough. You've cried too much for those who didn't know how to love you. You've already swallowed words, silenced your pain, carried blame that wasn't yours. But today I firmly declare, you will not go through this again. Not after everything he's endured. Not after everything you've learned. Not after everything I've already done to free you. My love for you will not allow this pain to happen again. My care goes beyond comfort, it's protection. And if necessary, I will close doors that you still hesitate to lock. You asked for release. You prayed not to fall into the same traps again. So today, with authority, I answer you, I am building walls around you. Not to isolate you, but to keep you. Not to keep you away from love, but to preserve you from everything that tries to imitate love and only brings destruction. Miguel is on alert. His sword is not sheathed. He continues to fight for you. And I, the Lord, continue to watch over your soul as someone guarding a rare treasure. The pain you experienced will not be standard. What you accepted in the past will no longer define what you hope for in the future. You were not made to be hurt over and over again, nor to feel that you should accept less than you deserve. I am restoring your vision. From now on, you will see clearly what previously seemed confusing. That which approaches with good words but wrong intentions will be revealed. That which tries to disguise itself as light, but is darkness, will be exposed. I will not allow you to return to what slowly destroys you. You asked me to speak. And I spoke. You asked me to show you. And I showed. Now I ask you one thing, trust. Trust that what I am taking from your life is not punishment, it is care. Trust that what seems like loss today is protection for tomorrow. Trust that if someone walked away, it was because I no longer wanted to see you crying for someone who didn't know how to see your soul. And don't be surprised if people start to walk away. Don't be scared if doors close, if cycles end without explanation. It's not rejection. It's deliverance. I'm clearing the land. I'm preparing space for the new one. For what is light, true, lasting? You spent too much time trying to rebuild what was already in ruins. Now I teach you how to build something new, under my direction. You are mine. And what is mine, I defend. I protect. I restore. The enemy thought he had won when he saw you broken. But he did not count on my intervention. He didn't count on his faith. With your courage to continue, even when hurt. He didn't expect you would hear my voice and take the first step toward healing. But you did. And now there is no going back. Because once I start a work, I finish it. And the good work that I started in your soul is just beginning. The pain will pass. The weight will come off. And you will breathe a sigh of relief. Go to sleep in peace. You will live lightly. And you will never again accept emotional crumbs as if they were banquets. Because I am returning your dignity. And with it, your freedom. You'll recognize it when it's real love. Because what is from me brings peace. What belongs to me brings you closer to your best version. What belongs to me does not bind you, it sets you free. If this word is clearing your mind, opening your eyes, touching your soul, share this message with someone who also needs to hear this truth. There are thousands of sons and daughters like you, trying to heal wounds with the hands that caused the pain. But you can be the instrument that I use to awaken others. Take this light. Spread this care. Be the bridge between someone's pain and liberation. You will not repeat this pain. Because now you know. Now you see. Now you understand. And with understanding comes choice. Choose to continue listening to me. Choose to walk away from what doesn't build you up. Choose to trust me more than human promises. And what comes after that will be so light, so pure, so different, that you will look back and understand why everything had to be the way it was. Take a deep breath. The next stage has already begun. And only those who are ready to experience what comes from heaven enter it. You let them cross too many borders. It allowed access that should not have been given. He was silent when he should have imposed himself. And I saw everything. I saw when you said, yes, you meant no. When he forgave without being healed. When he opened doors for fear of appearing insensitive. But now I come to restore something that is sacred, your limits. Because those who don't know how to protect themselves lose themselves. And I don't want to see you lost again. Limits are not walls that isolate you. These are fences that guard you. These are signs that you have learned to love yourself wisely. They are spiritual declarations that you will no longer give yourself completely to those who only offer you half. And no, it's not pride to say that something is bad for you. It's not selfish to walk away from what hurts you. It is obedience. Because I never called you to be a martyr to a story that drains you, that erases you, that steals your peace. I'm teaching you to say no without guilt. Closing doors without remorse. Choosing yourself without fear. Recognizing that not everyone deserves access to your heart. That not every presence is a blessing. That there are people who seem like light, but are distractions. That there are voices that speak of me, but do not come from me. And that is why I need your boundaries to be firm. Because the next cycle of your life will be different. And anyone who doesn't respect your limits cannot walk with you. Miguel continues in battle. And while he cuts ties and breaks invisible alliances, I am rebuilding his sense of worth. You will no longer be manipulated with sweet words. You will no longer be seduced by promises that are never fulfilled. You will no longer be driven by lack to the point of forgetting who you are. I am reaffirming its foundations. Establishing in you the identity that should never have been questioned. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of true love. You are worthy of reciprocity. And anyone who can't deal with it isn't prepared to walk alongside it. Because those who love do not cross borders, they take care of them. Honor. Protect. Submit in love, not control. And now that you are being restored, I will not allow this area to be exposed again. I will guard you. But you will also learn to guard yourself. You will no longer remain silent in the face of emotional abuse. It will no longer justify the unjustifiable. You will no longer lower your eyes as if you were always in debt. The time for emotional submission is over. Now the time for dignity begins. Of maturity. Of spiritual wisdom. Because I don't just want to heal you, I want to keep you healed. And that requires awareness. Posture. Positioning. Don't be surprised if, from now on, people start to be bothered by your strength. With your clarity. With your decision to no longer tolerate what you previously accepted. It's because you are changing. It's healing. It's rising. And this scares those who feed on their fragility. But I will be with you. And if they try to get closer with the same masks, Miguel will be ready to cut him again. Because this time will be different. This time, you will not return to the same point. And if all of this is speaking to you, if you know that it is me reaffirming the healing that I have begun, then subscribe to this channel now as a step of faith and commitment to the new cycle that I am activating in your life. This isn't just a digital gesture, it's a spiritual covenant. It's you saying, God, I want to keep hearing your voice. I'm not going back. From here, you will be surprised with peace. With discernment. Lightly. You will look at old situations and wonder how you could tolerate so much. And you'll realize that it wasn't weakness, it was lack. But now you're full. Full of my love. Full of my truth. Full of me. And whoever has this, doesn't bow to anything else. Take a deep breath. You are protected. And protected in me, you go much further. No, it's not about revenge. It's not about wishing evil. It's not about taking justice into your own hands. What is happening in your life right now is about destiny. About alignment. About liberation. It's about me placing you exactly where you should have been from the beginning, but that, due to emotional ties, human expectations, and the deceptions of the heart, you gradually strayed. I'm realigning your route. I am calling you back to the original path. Because I love you too much to allow an unresolved connection to prevent what I wrote for you. You thought this person was your answer. He thought it was the fulfillment of his promise. That it was all part of the plan. But the truth is that you became attached to someone who was not sent by me. Someone who enchanted you on the outside, but weakened you on the inside. And even when the signs started to appear, you insisted. I wanted to believe. I wanted to make it work. And I respected your time. I respected your pain. I was patient. But now I say, enough is enough. Because there is a purpose waiting for you, and it can no longer be delayed. This person is not your ending. She was a lesson. A turning point. A mirror that showed you where you were getting lost. And no matter how much you loved, cared, believed with all your heart, it's time to let go. Not because you hate it, but because now you understand. You understand that you can't cancel yourself out to keep someone close. That you cannot move away from me just to get closer to those who pull you away from your essence. You have grown up. He grew up in pain, in doubt, in silence. He grew up on the days when he cried without understanding. He grew up in the moments when he questioned whether it was worth continuing. And now, with everything you've learned, I come to tell you, the time has come to live the new. It's not fair to your soul to continue insisting on a cycle that only repeats itself. I didn't raise you to live in circles. I created you to advance. And moving forward sometimes requires leaving people where they left off. Because you can't take with you anyone who doesn't want to walk alongside you in the right direction. I am not a God of halves. I don't deliver incomplete promises. I don't work with confusion. What is mine comes with peace, with clarity, with lightness. And if that call brought more doubt than direction, more pain than edification, more darkness than light, then you already know, it didn't come from me. And if it didn't come from me, it's not your mission to insist. Your mission now is to trust. Trust that what I have is better. Trust that I know exactly what I am doing. Trust that even if today it seems like you are missing something, you are actually being protected from something that only I know where it would lead to. You need to understand that it's not about who leaves. It's about who stays. And I am the one who remains. It has always been me. In every tear. In every silence. In every prayer in which you asked for clarity. I was there. I heard you. I answered you. And now I guide you. Away from what hurts. Close to what heals. Beyond what you imagined. And yes, it will hurt. Every real goodbye hurts. There will be days when you want to go back. You will listen to music, see photos, feel nostalgic. But in those moments, remember what I told you, it's not about revenge, it's about destiny. And his destiny is too great to be interrupted by someone who didn't know how to recognize the value he carried. The pain will pass. Time will heal. And what seems like an end today, tomorrow will be remembered as the most necessary beginning of your life. You didn't fail by loving. You weren't wrong for trying. You've just come to the point where you need to choose yourself in me. And that's not selfish. It is obedience. It is spiritual maturity. It's faith. Because trusting me when everything is going well is easy. But trusting when I take something out of your hands is proof that you understand who I am. And I am your father. Your defender. Your protector. The one who doesn't fail. That doesn't abandon. That only closes a door when another much bigger one is about to open. Breathe. Liberation has already happened. Now it's time to walk. Because what I prepared requires free hands, a light heart and eyes facing forward. And that's where I'm taking you. As you hear this word, something is happening in the spiritual world. Even if you don't see it, even if you don't perceive it with your natural eyes, there is a movement happening in your favor. Heaven is at war for you. Archangel Michael has not just been sent, he is already in battle. And you're not fighting against people, but against what holds you inside. Against the strongholds that formed in your thoughts, against the lies that you accepted as truths, against the emotional currents that still pull you to the past. You are not hearing this message by chance. This is the exact time for intervention. What kept you paralyzed, what made you always return to the same emotional place, is now being confronted. I know the voices that tried to silence yours. The memories that replay like old movies in your mind. The words that were said back then and that still echo within you today. But now, Miguel is cutting those roots. It's breaking these voices. It is freeing your soul from the invisible prison you have been placed in without realizing it. There are bonds that you didn't see. Words spoken in vulnerable moments that opened spiritual doors. Emotional attachments that made you accept crumbs as if they were love. Cycles that have been repeated for years and always return with different faces. But today, heaven is telling you, this repetition ends here. This pain will no longer rule your relationships. This pattern of giving until you are exhausted, of loving until you cancel yourself out, of waiting for those who don't value you, is being broken now. You thought you were strong enough to handle everything on your own. But the truth is, you were tired. And I saw it. I saw you waking up without strength. I saw when you tried to follow, but something inside you always seemed to be stuck. I saw when you thought that maybe the problem was with you. But it wasn't. You were carrying loads that were not yours. Emotional responsibilities that didn't belong to you. Wounds that wouldn't heal because you never took the time to heal them. And now I say, now is the time. The time to let the sky enter. The time to allow Miguel to do what you tried to do with your own hands. You no longer have to fight alone. You no longer need to defend yourself, justify yourself, explain yourself. I am your shield. And I raised heavenly warriors to guard you. Because you are too important to stay down. He is too loved to remain trapped in memories that drain his faith. He is too chosen to continue walking around in the same desert. And if you feel like this war is real, if you feel like this message is for you, comment now, God is fighting for me and I choose to trust. This is not just a comment, it is a prophetic act. A spiritual statement that you recognize heaven is at work. That you are not alone. That there is a greater force working right now in your favor. I'm breaking chains of guilt. I am breaking emotional alliances with the past. I'm silencing voices that made you believe you weren't enough. I'm erasing memories that only remind you of failure. I am rebuilding your mind, renewing your heart, restoring your spiritual sensitivity. And as you listen, as you agree, as you open, my spirit is touching you. It's not just another word. It's healing. It's liberation. It's new life. Take a deep breath. You don't have to do anything other than allow it. Allow me to lead, to clean, to transform. Because I didn't stop fighting for you. And today, with Miguel at the helm, and with my love around you, you are safe. The battle is being won now. And what comes after that will be a time of peace like you have never experienced before. Stand firm. I'm with you. And when I fight for someone, no one can defeat him. You are winning, even if you can't see it yet. And I will show you this in the next words. Don't stop now. The sky keeps moving for you. You have been asking for healing for a long time. He has prayed in silence, when no one sees. You've been holding back tears in the midst of forced smiles. He has tried to maintain his routine, even though he feels a void that no effort has been able to fill. And today I come to tell you with certainty, the healing you so desired has already begun. It didn't come with noise, it didn't come with spectacle, but it began at the exact moment you chose to listen to me, open your heart and allow my words to penetrate where no one else reaches. I entered the places you hide even from yourself. Those memories you avoid remembering, those conversations that got choked up, those decisions you make out of fear of getting hurt again. I saw everything. I know everything. And yet, I loved you with a love that is not frightened by your mess. There is no shame that stops me from touching you. There is no trauma that prevents me from rebuilding. There is no darkness that I cannot illuminate. I didn't come to demand that you be perfect to be restored. I came precisely because you need to be restored. I am cleansing the wounds that have been ignored for so long. Scars that formed over poorly treated pain. Words that stuck in your throat. Situations that you never understood, but that left deep marks. People you forgave from the inside, but who still bleed inside. And now, with my touch, with my presence, with the anointing that flows from my spirit, all of this is being dealt with. What was once a burden is being relieved. What was once confusion is getting organized. What was once pain is becoming testimony. You no longer have to carry everything yourself. You don't need to pretend that you overcame it just to appear strong. I don't want you in disguise. I really want you. And the more honest you are with me, the deeper I can heal. Because true healing doesn't start with appearance. It starts with the spirit. For the decision to stop hiding what hurts and trust that I not only can, but want to heal you completely. You have become accustomed to functioning in pain. Walking with open wounds. Smiling while breaking inside. But that time is over. Now the time of wholeness begins. Of authenticity. Of lightness. Not because life will be perfect, but because you will be whole enough to face anything without losing yourself. The pain you often felt, the anguish that tightened your chest, the anxiety that stole your sleep, all of this is being uprooted. And if this healing has begun, it is because you chose to trust. Because despite the fear, you stayed. Despite your doubts, you listened. Despite the wounds, you opened up. And that's why I'm playing where no one else has played. No therapist was able to get in there. No human advice has reached so deep. But I arrive. Because I am the only one who doesn't need permission to love you, I just need space to act. If you feel that this process has started within you, enjoy this message now as an act of faith and gratitude for the healing that is being released. Because each click, each gesture, each decision to align with my voice, seals in the spirit what heaven is already doing. You will notice that some pains simply disappear. That what paralyzed you no longer has any strength. That what used to make you cry, now no longer has the same power. This is a sign of healing. This is a sign that I am acting. And although some wounds take time, none will stay open forever. I don't abandon processes. I don't start restorations to leave them half done. What I begin, I complete perfectly. So take a deep breath. Feel the air coming in a new way. Feel the lightness where there was weight before. Feel peace where there was once conflict. The healing has already begun. And what comes next will be even bigger. Because I am the God who turns ashes into beauty, pain into strength, past into testimony. Stay with me. The best is still being released. Now that you have surrendered what held you back, I can lead you. Now that you've let go of what drained your soul, I can show you what comes next. And what comes is rest. The rest that you sought in people, in relationships, in human promises, is in me. The rest of no longer needing to prove your worth, of not having to fight alone, of not carrying a guilt that was never yours. It is this rest that I give you now. Because I am the God who not only heals but also guides. Which not only restores, but also directs. You spend a lot of time trying to understand why things happened the way they did. Why someone who claimed to love you hurt you so deeply. Why did you feel like nothing was enough? But now you begin to understand that it was all part of a process. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It wasn't a loss. It was deliverance. It wasn't abandonment. It was redemption. And today, I put you back on track, on the route, on the path. Because the time for confusion is over. Now the time for clarity begins. And the direction I give is not based on what you feel, but on what I know. And I know things that you still don't understand. I see what lies ahead. I know the thoughts that others do not reveal. I know who can walk with you and who would only delay your journey. And so, even if you still miss it, even if there is still longing, I tell you with love and firmness, follow. Don't look back. Don't return to what has already been broken. I didn't release you to see you return to prison. I freed you to see you fly. The longing will pass. The pain will subside. Doubt will give way to certainty. Because I am guiding you. Step by step. Word for word. And the more you listen to me, the lighter the path will be. What used to hold you back now no longer has power. What confused you is now being revealed. What limited you is being broken. You don't need a perfect ending with that person to experience a new beginning in me. What you need is trust. Trust that I am enough. That my plan is greater. That my will is good, perfect, and pleasant, even if it seems difficult at first. You will experience things you never imagined. You will meet people who will see you with my eyes. You will walk through places that previously seemed too far away. Because now you are ready. Not because you became strong on your own, but because you finally allowed me to be your strength. And when I am the foundation, everything that is built upon me remains. Don't worry about time. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't regret what you've been through. What happened doesn't define you. What was left behind is no longer what sustains you. Now is the time to look ahead. For the new. For what is being born. And yes, it is possible to live a new story without carrying the ruins of the previous one. It is possible to love again, dream again, trust again. Because when I restore, I also prepare. And what I'm preparing will surpass everything you thought you lost. You will feel at peace. Not because everything will be resolved, but because your soul will be firm. You will sleep without weight on your chest. You will wake up without that emptiness. You will walk without fear of tripping again. Because I will be by your side. And when I am, you don't need to fear. I am your guide. Your shelter. Your beginning and your end. Take a deep breath again. This is just the beginning of something extraordinary. Breathe deeply. Let your heart be touched by this moment. You didn't just happen to be here. It wasn't distraction, it wasn't luck, and it wasn't the algorithm. I was the one. I brought you. Heaven wants to show you something immediately, which is why I sent you here. I've been seeing the symptoms in your heart for the past few days. The internal conflict. The confused ideas. That quiet that cries within while everyone else believes you're okay. I witnessed your attempts to divert your attention, to proceed independently, and to suppress your emotions so as not to frighten others. I don't get sidetracked, though. I don't walk past you as though I'm blind. I secretly know you. And I'm here today to tell you, with all of my power and love, heaven shifted for you. Archangel Michael was sent by me. Yes, my army's prince. You can't even see the person that fights the battles. He brought a sword to defend you, not to harm you. To alert you. To cut, with divine accuracy, that which silently steals from you. You can't convey the oppression you've experienced. There are evenings when you don't fall asleep, and other nights when you dream yet wake up feeling even more exhausted than when you fell asleep. You've attempted to explain it away and assumed it was simply fatigue, but I'm telling you that it's spiritual. You are in the center of a war that is going on all around you. But don't worry. I've already joined this conflict. Miguel has already taken his place. And it all begins right now. Right here. Right now, when you hear my voice. I'm speaking to you. Who among you considered quitting up? It was you who said, in private, that you could take it no longer. I paid attention. I was there. And I'm here to tell you that your suffering was not in vain. You didn't let any of your tears fall aimlessly. I witnessed you being injured by unsaid comments that were more painful than yells. I watched as that individual, yes, that same individual, progressively tore away your tranquility while you continued to insist on calling it love when it was actually a bond of oppression. I bring you brightness today. I bring you insight today. Due to the enemy's subtle actions. It doesn't show up as many people think, instead, it poses as kindness, love, and well-meaning intentions. And I am aware of how much you have mistaken this for genuine affection. However, I am love itself, and I make it very obvious that I am not the source of hurtful love. My essence is not carried by love that wears you out, that silences your voice, or that makes you feel insignificant. And I sent Miguel for that reason. To safeguard your most valuable qualities, such as your identity, your mission, and your heart. Don't fight against the reality I'm exposing. Admitting hurts, I know. I am aware that you want a different outcome. I hope that individual changes. That everything came together all of a sudden. However, prolonging this pattern is causing you to stray from my fervently intended course of action. For this reason, I'm breathing into your spirit right now. Remark, God is speaking to me now. As an act of faith, not as a ritual. Similar to a spiritual seal attesting to the fact that you have heard this message. Your eyes will be opened by what I'm going to reveal. Your soul will be set free. Your strength will be restored. But you must go on. Now don't let anything divert you. I hope you hear the finish. Because I will do more than only talk. I'll do something. And you will know for sure that it's me. Your deity. Your dad. The one who never left you, even when it looked like nothing was happening. Breathe deeply once again. This is only the start of something truly remarkable. You are aware of who I am referring to. Every time that individual comes around, I can see how restless your heart is. I observe the uneasiness that is attempted to be covered up by staged smiles and prepared speech. You attempt to explain away your soul's burden by claiming it's all in your brain. Furthermore, it isn't. Your feelings are genuine. It has a spiritual component. I'm not making advantage of this presence. And you become farther away from the reason I have for your existence the more you attempt to fit it into the pattern I have created. Have you ever seen how speaking with her causes your thoughts to get jumbled? Have you observed how hope fades, tranquility vanishes, and your trust falters? This isn't typical. This isn't affection. This spiritual connection is attempting to keep you caught in a pattern that ought to have stopped long ago. And I, who created you with my own hands and fervently authored every page of your narrative, will not let you to keep disregarding my messages. I witnessed everything. I witnessed her encircling you with kind words that were laced with malice. I witnessed her punishing you with silence, which made you feel inferior, guilty, and undeserving. I witnessed your attempts to communicate being disregarded, your openings being exploited, and your best efforts being met with crumbs. Nevertheless, you made another attempt. Despite your pain, you persisted in thinking you could fix something I hadn't planted yourself. It hurts, I know. I am aware that it might be difficult to understand that someone you have loved deeply can be used to destroy your feelings. However, I'm not calling you to be simple. I summon you to truth. For what develops. For what makes you more intimate with me. Furthermore, despite your best efforts to spiritualize it, I am not the source of this connection, this tie, or this presence. Because I don't employ anybody to mislead, control, harm, or divert you from your goals. Miguel brought a sword to liberate, not to punish. He comes to cut what you cannot shatter with your own power. He is at work right now, dismantling emotional ties that were not formed with my approval, dismantling invisible ties, and dismantling lies that were planted in your heart. As though something is draining your vitality, your faith, or your desire to live, you feel as though you are being drawn back. And when you persist on keeping someone close who ought to have been left behind, that's precisely what occurs. You don't have to bear this burden by yourself. This pattern doesn't have to continue because you're afraid of being alone. I agree with you. I am sufficient. And I won't let people treat you like a choice, love you half-heartedly, or misidentify you. You've been selected. You are totally cherished. And I am now eliminating everything that reduces you, devalues you, and emotionally imprisons you. However, I need you to work with heaven. May you cease defending the unreasonable. Give up treating this someone as though they were your savior. Since she isn't. Yes, I am. And I'm the one calling you to take a leap of faith right now. That word should not be kept to oneself. People who likewise need to awaken their spiritual eyes should hear this message. Because like you, there are others who are stuck in ties and relationships that numb the spirit and deplete the soul. You're being awakened to something bigger by me. You are being called back to the core of my will. After the period of blindness has ended. The moment to see clearly is now. And I'm going to share something much more profound, freeing, and healing. Miguel's arrival was not in vain. For you, the sky shifted. And nothing remains the same when the sky changes. Breathe deeply. Because what follows will shed light on parts of your life that were completely dark before. You have been silently praying. I am aware. Lord, if this is not for me, show me, he murmured to me with a weary spirit. And I'm here today to answer. I came to lift the curtain of uncertainty. I'm here to relieve you of this burden of doubt that keeps you from going on. Here's my response. My voice is this. The fact that you are hearing this at this very moment is no accident. It's providence. Because I am moved when you pray with sincerity. When someone cries out to me with truth, I don't ignore them. You don't have hallucinations. You're telling the truth. I can attest that what you saw between the lines, what you attempted to suppress out of fear of being incorrect, was true. That pain in your chest, that unexplained uneasiness, that profound melancholy following seemingly pleasant times. My spirit was alerting you. I use a variety of speech patterns. And I am aware that you persisted in begging me for signs despite your confusion. So pay close attention, you don't belong there. The objective I created will not be carried by this individual. I noticed you try. I saw that you've forgiven more than you ought to have. The void simply deepened despite your persistent trust. Something holy is taking place here. Heaven is stepping in to stop you from reverting to a cycle that no longer serves your needs. To break this link, Miguel was dispatched. Furthermore, this is not a form of discipline. It's deliverance. It's affection. I am aware that you desired a happy finish and a hopeful new beginning. I give you something better, though, a fresh start based on freedom, truth, and purpose. The emotional instability of someone who does not respect your worth will no longer hold you captive. You don't have to adapt to what makes you less. Silence is no longer necessary to maintain a relationship with someone who has never shown any interest in listening to you. I didn't make you to keep attempting to change things that only I can change, and I frequently decide to tear you away from your life in order to protect your fate. Some things appear to be losses, yet they are actually solutions. Some wounds ache right away but never go away. And I'm doing just that. I'm curing you from the inside out. You are cherished. You are significant. They see you. Furthermore, I don't want you to embrace a love that views you as a background, a burden, or an alternative. I want you to sleep. Instead of draining you in the name of injured sentiments, I want to give you a relationship that symbolizes my calm. I'm adamant that you stop ignoring the indications because of this. Stop trying to defend something I have already made so obvious. You requested confirmation. And it's right here. It is now your time to move. Not to turn around anymore. Of deciding to put more faith in me than in the unfulfilled promises of that individual. I am aware that loneliness is a quiet anxiety. You still don't realize, though, that you've never been alone. I was there for you every time you sobbed in private. I already understood what he was going through when he was embarrassed to share it. I was protecting you from the deception they attempted to instill in your spirit when you questioned whether you were going insane. I'm calling you to the light today. To the start of something pure, I call you. Miguel is by your side, severing the emotional bonds that are holding you back. By eliminating what you couldn't with your own hands, he is cleaning the field. I also need your faith. May you decide to follow the path of obedience. Because there will be a renewal following this reduction. Obedience will lead to rest. There will be calm after the truth. Do it out of faith if this word has moved you or if you sense that it is me speaking to you. Like this message and subscribe to the channel so that you can keep hearing my voice. For there is still much I want to tell you. It's not necessary for you to stroll in the dark. Your light is me. And I allow myself to be found when you really seek me out. Don't worry about what you could lose. See what I am offering you: direction, independence, tranquility, and a new beginning filled with my presence. Breathe deeply. For what is ahead is more than you could have ever dreamed. And it all begins with your choice to pay attention to me right now. I never planted what you have termed love. You have insisted on defending behaviors that, in your heart, cause you more harm than good. Something that began with pain, was filled with suffering, and now only causes you pain is something you are attempting to transform into a blessing. I am aware that you want a different outcome. I wanted the relationship to change, for that person to change, and for all of your hard work to be rewarded with a happy ending. However, imaginations are not what I work with. Truth is what I work with. Furthermore, I am not the source of this link. In an attempt to blend in where you were never meant to be, you lost yourself. To meet standards that weren't even yours, you devalued yourself. You mute your voice to protect yourself from someone who made you feel alone despite their presence. And I witnessed everything. I witnessed you sobbing quietly so as not to frighten anyone. I saw you pondering whether you were the issue. I saw that you said everything was well, but on the inside, I had lost my identity. You attempted to spiritualize the concept of manipulation. He was becoming emotionally dependent, even though he believed he was being faithful. He overlooked his own heart since he offered so many second chances. Nevertheless, I stuck by your side. I waited patiently. I mentioned signals, nightmares, and little warnings in your soul. However, you persisted. I believed it to be a passing phase. It was essential to have faith. Indeed, trust is necessary. However, have trust in me rather than a delusion that pulls you from your own self. You are not confused by the love that emanates from me. Don't make a fool of yourself. It doesn't cause you to question your value. You go closer to truth, light, and tranquility as you experience the love that comes from me. Additionally, if you are constantly tense, have lost your sense of joy, or find that being with this person causes you more worry than relaxation, then come to a standstill. See with my eyes. I don't want you to keep believing that this is typical. It's not. Instead of living in an emotional prison, you are supposed to live in freedom. You're being robbed by this call. It has gradually obliterated its power, radiance, and spiritual clarity. My voice is no longer as clear to you as it once was. You no longer pursue me with the same fervor. Doubt has taken control, and you no longer trust yourself. And these symptoms, doubt, bewilderment, and disturbance, are spiritual in nature. It's more than simply a challenging relationship. The enemy uses it as a calculated diversion to pull you away from your identity in me. You should see this. I want you to understand that it's not about a single individual. It has to do with your soul, of your objective, of your fate. This link, this attachment, this determination on clinging to something I've previously begged you to let up. You are being held captive by all of this, not because I have left you, but rather because you are surrounded by sounds that are not from me. Have you ever seen how something always seems to draw you back when you attempt to leave? Like you're imprisoned by an unseen force. This isn't affection. It's a loop. A spiritual and emotional connection that must be severed. And that's what I'm here for. But you have to desire it for me. I hope you say, enough. I hope you'll have the guts to face reality sans cosmetics. Because liberty doesn't start till then. You weren't brought here for condemnation. To set you free, I brought you. To make you see. To serve as a reminder of your identity. I own you. And whomever is mine doesn't live a life of hunching over, shrinking, and vanishing to make room for someone else to shine. Whoever is my walks firmly, clearly, and with their individuality restored. Calling you back to your core is what I'm doing right now. You don't have to plead for love anymore. You don't have to plead for attention anymore. You don't have to keep hoping that someone who doesn't appreciate you will see how valuable you are. I cherish you. I created you. There are no emotional sacrifices necessary for the love I have for you. What I have for you is bright, honest, and entire. And it will come. However, we must first close this cycle. Not with malice. Not with remorse. But out of love. Love for myself, love for the wonderful future I have already planned, and love for myself. Breathe deeply. To start releasing yourself, you are at the right place. I'm with you, too. Where there was control, you could see caring. You mistook the attention for affection when it was actually a well-camouflaged form of manipulation. I witnessed the beginning of this. I witnessed the moment when that person started to control their emotions by kind words and actions that seemed kind but were always followed by quiet imposition, demands, and emotional blackmail. And you gave in out of love. He was so terrified that he said nothing. He accepted living in fragments out of hope. You are not exaggerating how you feel. There isn't any drama. It hurts a lot. And every time you attempted to comprehend what was going on, I was there. Am I being unfair? Am I exaggerating? Maybe the problem lies with me. Was what I observed when you began to doubt yourself, son. No, daughter. You are not the issue. The issue is that you've been caught up in a pattern where the other person is always correct, your discomfort is dismissed, and your dedication is viewed as a duty rather than genuine love. I witnessed their use of silence as a sort of discipline. That individual ceased replying to you after they just vanished, as though they wanted you to fear losing them. You sensed it, too. You gave up. He returned and apologized for things he didn't even make, even though he knew it wasn't fair. Because self-love was overshadowed by the dread of losing. However, I didn't make you to endure emotional blackmail. You weren't made to be cautious in a relationship by me. This individual manipulated your feelings. He treated you like nothing sometimes and like everything else. It made you feel like a burden one day and stated you were unique the next. Because your heart wanted to believe, all of this was mistaken for love. I hoped that love would be sincere. I desired that relationship to be pure. However, the fact is that the enemy planted falsehoods under the pretense of hope by exploiting your deepest desires. Nevertheless, I stayed. I kept watching over you. I'm warning you. And I came now to remove this veil from your eyes with all of my might and love. I came to demonstrate that you are fighting for something that does more harm than good. I'm here to tell you that although seeking love is perfectly okay, attempting to force it from a place where it doesn't exist is harming you. This is reliance, not love. This is control, not concern. This is emotional perplexity, not optimism. You deserve to be respected. Without begging for love, you have the right to receive it. You don't need to plead for a conversation in order to be heard. And I'm here today, your father, to remind you of that. To get your identity back. To release your spirit from the imprisoning atmosphere that has encircled your heart. You continue to believe that everything can change with only one more attempt. But there is nothing to preserve about what I have for you. Everything that comes from me flows gently. Miguel is interrupting what you're still attempting to defend with your own emotions. It is breaking the cycle, the dread, the guilt, and the lie. It's cutting to let you to breathe more easily. Since I am aware that you have exhausted all options. It's time to let go now. In order to offer you something new that frees you, you must surrender me this connection that ties you. Comment 7777 right away as a sign of trust and a spiritual separation from all that does not originate from me if you sense that this word is for you and that I am speaking straight to your heart. This is not only a number, rather, it is an indication that you have listened, comprehended, and are prepared to break free from this pattern in response to my voice. Your God is me. And there will never be any confusion for anybody who hears my voice and follows my instructions. What appears to be a loss now will be a testimony tomorrow. Tomorrow, what feels like pain now will be healed. Furthermore, what is being removed today will give way to what will truly help you thrive. You weren't made to live in uncertainty. You were made to live life to the fullest. And now I'm guiding you to this. Breathe deeply. We're releasing you. And all that your spirit has already started to sense will be validated by the next revelation I offer. Keep going. Heaven is only starting to move. To accept so little was not ingrained in you. I didn't create you with such passion, love, and purpose to make you accustomed to being viewed as a backup plan. You were not made to survive on sentimental scraps, to accept meaningless gestures and words that make you feel more confused than welcomed. Nevertheless, I saw you attempting to make it work. Something inside of you was already dying, and I watched you working hard to keep it alive. And you continued to believe that perhaps it was the correct course even when the suffering outweighed the optimism. However, I now inform you that this, at least, which you have come to accept, is not what I have in store for you. This isn't love. At least he responded to me. At least she tried to contact me. At least he doesn't treat me so badly. Emotional survival is what this is. This is becoming accustomed to the things that pain, stifle, and quiet your innermost thoughts. Furthermore, I, your father, will not let you to continue living in this need. Now is the moment of fulfillment. This connection that causes you to doubt yourself is not compatible with what I have planned for your life. I have plans for stability, happiness, tranquility, and real love. However, you must let go of what is occupying that space in order to live them. I am also aware that it is painful to let go. I am aware that there is a part of you that is still holding out for an abrupt shift, a new outlook, or evidence that you are still valuable. Nevertheless, pay attention to your heart. You need to quit harming yourself, not the other person. You've made enough effort. It's now too late, you've already waited and given in. It's time to realize that this tale isn't leading you to the fate I intended for you. It's time to realize that not all relationships are permanent and that some were just permitted to instruct, not to stay. You are being held back spiritually by this individual who occupies so much of your heart right now. You're losing concentration because of it. It is depriving you of your true self while you are at calm. Miguel is at work already. Severing unseen connections. Removing access that was granted because of need, fear, or uncertainty. I'm washing you from the inside out. I am aware that initially the emptiness will be painful, but it is essential for the new one to come. You cannot carry a wounded past into the future and expect it to be as successful as it was before. I'm calling you for a rebuild today. For a delivery. For a reorganization of all your self-perceptions. Saying, "I deserve more," is not a sign of pride. It's wisdom. It's compliance. Because what you allow to stay is determined by what you can endure. Additionally, I want you to learn to accept only what is sent from above. Connections that grow. Talks that make you stronger. Elevating presences. Healing words. Losing someone is not something you were born to fear. You were created with the assurance that I, your God, would always be there for you. Sharing this message with someone who needs to open their spiritual eyes the way you are now is a gesture of faith and a step toward the emancipation of not only your life but also the lives of those who endure the same battle in silence. Another person's soul could be healed by this small deed. You have no clue how many people can relate to this suffering that you are so familiar with. Where there was only chaos, bring light. The days of living a half-hearted life are ended, which is why I brought you here. The period of waiting anxiously, loving fearfully, and believing while wondering, is finished. The period of peace that depends just on me is now beginning. You will walk at a different speed starting today. Your breathing will change. You'll recognize yourself when you look in the mirror. Because your identity is being restored by me. And nobody else will be able to take that away from you. Breathe deeply. You're not losing. You're exercising your freedom. You're not slipping behind. My plan is moving you forward. Your days will no longer be dictated by the individual who wronged you. The sound that reverberates within you will no longer be the words that caused you pain. You are now being torn free from the guilt that held you back. And tranquility, power, and purpose are what I'll establish. Remain with me. I have a lot more I want to show you. You believed it had gone unnoticed. The frigid attitude, the frosty silence, and the unpleasant talk had all gone undetected in paradise. However, I witnessed everything. I witnessed your heart breaking in quiet, your forced smile to avoid worrying others, and your self-blame for emotions that were actually the result of what they were doing to you. I witnessed them pushing you to your breaking point before pointing the finger at you. I witnessed them twisting your spirit when they labeled you excessive, tough, and too sensitive. You made an effort to be powerful. He made an effort to stay composed. He made an effort to be reasonable. And in order to avoid confrontation, he kept quiet even when he believed he was being wronged. In order to protect something that only you were secretly battling for, you swallowed words, sorrows, and agony. However, I did see it. I witnessed the times that person left you talking to yourself, when they vanished without warning, and when they deliberately neglected you in order to make you feel reliant, insignificant, and insecure. Nevertheless, you sought to comprehend, to defend, to love in spite of the injury. However, I am here today to tell you that nothing escaped my observation. Every tear you shed has been tallied. Every injustice you silently suffered was documented. Because I am fair, not because I wanted to see you suffer. And I don't overlook what they do to my kids because I'm a good father. When they stated you were the issue, I was present. When they made you answerable for suffering you didn't create, I was there. When they misrepresented your statements to appear like victims in front of others, I was present. And I'm telling you today, enough is enough. Blame that is not yours will no longer be borne by you. It's not hard to adore you. Your heart is simply huge. You're not overly passionate. The only sensations you have are genuine ones. And you are not worthy of anyone who took advantage of you or perceived it as a weakness. Because I endowed you with sensitivity to perceive the invisible, not to be harmed by those who are incapable of handling depth. And the reason someone didn't appreciate this is that they were never able to walk with someone who is so full of brightness. The God who sees is me. God who hears. The God who appears to be silent yet actually defends in silence. I never remained silent out of abandonment. It was patience. The time had come. It served as defense. I was getting ready for this moment while you believed I was doing nothing. That's when you'll hear it plainly. I've witnessed it all, and I won't let it go on. We're closing the circle. The injustice is being rectified. They're lifting the weight. Since I am dependable. Since I cherish you. Since I desire your freedom. As a sign of trust and obedience, like this message and subscribe to the channel if you felt that every word was speaking to you precisely where your soul needed it. Because when you answer my voice, you give me room to keep acting. I have a lot more to show you yet. You're not by yourself. You weren't. And going forward, justice, healing, and genuine beginnings will be hallmarks of your tale. I will silently remember all that you have gone through. Every cry will become a source of strength for me. Every learning loss. Every inequity in the testimony. And the knowledge that I am your father, your protector, and your haven will replace the sense of powerlessness that surrounded you. Breathe deeply. The days of being disregarded are past. This is the moment to be healed, shielded, and led by my hands. And the following step will be much more profound. As I haven't done yet. I've only just begun. You've asked yourself what went wrong many times. He looked within himself to determine what was causing the coldness, the distance, and the apathy. He re-examined discussions, reconsidered attitudes, and examined himself thoroughly. And your confusion increased as you made more attempts to comprehend. Today, however, I make it quite plain that you are not the issue. It was sincere affection that you gave. They were genuine in their concern, passion, and devotion. Your excessive love was not a sin. It was not a loving error. It was a mistake to keep insisting when it was obvious that reciprocity did not exist. I witnessed your selflessness. How he attempted to raise those who refused to be lifted. How you supported both parties in a relationship that only lasted because you made everyday sacrifices. However, they blamed you when everything went apart. They accused you of being too sensitive, needy, and demanding. And you had faith. Because anyone who has been harmed will accept any story in an attempt to find an explanation. I'm here to dispel that myth, though. The issue wasn't with you. On the other side, you were the bridge that held up something that had already fallen. I witnessed you battling the flow. I witnessed you making an effort to maintain your faith, to rescue, to heal, to use words, gestures, and forgiveness. You requested guidance. You demanded a change. You had faith in the greatest. Nevertheless, you were left feeling burdened when the relationship ended. But this isn't fair, son or daughter. I am also righteous. I'm taking you away from that guilt today because of this. I rip you from this land of unspoken censure. Since you've already made too many accusations against yourself. Already, too much has been charged. You've made too many attempts. It's time to relax now. You cannot save people who do not want to be saved, so take comfort in that. That what was established on false promises cannot be sustained by you alone. That you don't have to go out of your way to win over those who aren't sure how to greet you. Love isn't meant to shape you. Love isn't meant to keep you quiet. To be loved is not to be erased. Additionally, if you feel inferior in a relationship, it's tyranny rather than love. You attempted to heal hurts that weren't even your own. The other person's quiet was only emotional manipulation, but he mistook it for a call for assistance. When everything cried out for war, you disregarded warnings, read signals, and demanded peace. And I saw that. I witnessed the fervor with which your heart battled for what you considered precious. And you're not to fault for it. You have my admiration. Because hardly many people have such pure affection. However, even the purest love need guidance. And I'm here for that reason. To remind you that whomever loves must also be loved, not to condemn you. One must take care of those who take care of others. A person's heart shouldn't be returned in fragments. You deserve someone who isn't afraid of you and can see your brilliance. That recognizes its depth and doesn't flee. Don't toy with what you deliver, instead, honor what you offer. Furthermore, it is not your responsibility to save someone you are linked to if they are unable to handle it. I own it. And I am aware of when everything is due. You should forgive yourself now. In order to release the guilt. Must set aside the unanswered questions and realize that sometimes the quiet of the other person is the answer you didn't want to hear but had to accept. For as long as you hold on to the what if, you forfeit the opportunity to experience the what now that I had prepared. A moment of repair. Of lightness. To get back in touch with your true self. You weren't challenging. You showed loyalty. You were telling the truth. You were complete. The world attempted to persuade you that this was incorrect. However, I, your father, assure you that this is precisely what makes you unique. Don't let someone who didn't know how to care for you ruin what makes you wonderful. To appease those who are dark, don't dim your light. I made you to be radiant, to uplift, to love, but never to suffer harm from it. Take a breath. The issue is not with you. And now that you have accepted this reality, the words that follow will change not just your perspective but also your course. You start to walk free from the burden of shame from this point on. And there is rebirth when there is freedom. And I am there where there is rebirth. I understand the uncertainty that consumed your innermost thoughts. I am aware that you began to lose your identity. Who lost himself in himself because he spent so much time attempting to understand, correct, and please others. He got to the point where he began to question his worth, his voice, and his value. And I joined for precisely that reason. To put back what was taken. To keep in mind who you are within me. Because all you went through just obscured your essence, not erased it. In order to uncover the truth about you once more, I am clearing away this emotional dust. You had lost your identity. He started shaping himself to meet standards he had never met. I swallowed the words that sprang to mind. When I wanted to be assertive, I gave in. When you wanted to cry, you smiled. Declaring, everything is fine, although the soul was wailing for assistance. However, I heard a scream. Not only did I listen, but I also answered. In person. In a cozy manner. With freedom. I didn't make you to live a life of silence, hunching over, and being obedient to oppression under the pretext of a partnership. My image is you. My invention. Continue to breathe the life I gave you. And nothing can change what I've spoken about your life, not even rejection, suffering, or abandonment. I always saw you as a son, a daughter, and the heir to everlasting promises, even though you may have forgotten for a moment. I'm reminding you now. Remind yourself that you are valuable. That serves a function. It has a spot allocated at the table that I set up. Your brilliance was evident to everyone attempted to extinguish your light. The darkness is irritated by your voice, as demonstrated by whomever attempted to stop it. The fact that no one can arrest those who were called to fly was never comprehended by those who attempted to regulate their steps. And even if you initially bought into the falsehoods they told you about your weakness, neediness, and inadequacy, I'm here to tell you that these statements were not spoken by me. They resulted from uncertainty, anxiety, and an effort by the adversary to skew the image I put in front of you. However, the soul's mirror is now being purified. You can now view yourself through my eyes once more. Through the eyes of truth. Via the spirit sight. And something inside of you shifts when that occurs. Crumbs are no longer acceptable to you. Don't submit to manipulation anymore. Don't bow down to those who attempt to make you feel better than you are. Because people who are aware of who they are in me don't compromise, hide who they are, or shrink to fit in. You're still with Miguel. Severing the final connections that are dragging you back in time. He is paving the way, removing the emotional obstacles, and allowing you to go. And I'll be there for you every step of the way while you pursue the truth. Verifying. Strengthening. Comforting. Since you refuse to return. What injured you will no longer be romanticized. When people doubt your value, you won't doubt yourself anymore. Your identity and clarity are being restored by me. Your voice will come back. You'll regain your strength. You'll be able to dream again. Right now, what appeared to be lost, broken, and obliterated is being restored. It's because you are mine, not because you deserved it. And I look for what is rightfully mine with fire, fairness, and unwavering love. You'll be shocked at the person you're becoming into. You will see that the purpose of this agonizing process was to uncover what was hidden inside you, not to harm you. You will be appreciative of who you are becoming and sympathetic to who you were. You do indeed walk with dignity, clarity, and direction today. And as long as you are rooted in me, nothing at all, can stop you. You will now understand what perplexed you. You will now be free of the things that held you back. And the moment that appeared to be the end will be remembered as the pivotal moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the burden go away. Feel as though your soul is coming full circle. You no longer need to struggle for acceptance. I have already approved of you. And that's sufficient. Stay with me now. Because everything that began here will come together in what I'm about to tell you. Additionally, you will never be the same. You've endured enough pain. You have shed too many tears for those who were incapable of showing you love. You have already muted your suffering, swallowed words, and taken responsibility for something that wasn't yours. However, I adamantly state now that you will never experience this again. Not after all he's been through. Not with all you've discovered. Not after all that I've done to set you free. This suffering will never be allowed to happen again because of my love for you. My concern is protection, not just comfort. And I'll shut doors you're still hesitant to lock if needed. You requested release. You prayed that you wouldn't be caught in the same traps again. Therefore, I respond to you with power today. I'm erecting barriers around you. To keep you, not to alienate you. To protect you from anything that tries to mimic love and only ends up causing harm, not to keep you away from love. Miguel is alert. He has not sheathed his weapon. He's still fighting for you. And like a guardian of a priceless gem, I, the Lord, continue to keep an eye on your soul. Your experience of pain won't be typical. What you aspire for in the future will no longer be defined by what you accepted in the past. You were not created to endure constant pain or to believe that you should settle for less than you are worthy of. Your vision is being restored by me. You will now be able to clearly see what was before unclear. That which comes with good intentions but bad purpose will be exposed. Anything that attempts to pass for light but is actually darkness will be revealed. I won't let you go back to what eventually ruins you. You asked me to talk. And I said something. You requested that I show you. I also demonstrated. I have one last request for you. Have faith. Have faith that I am taking care of you, not punishing you. Have faith that what appears to be lost now is safeguarding for future. Have faith that if someone left, it was because I didn't want to see you grieve for someone who couldn't see your soul. Additionally, don't be shocked if individuals begin to leave. If doors close or cycles finish without a reason, don't be alarmed. It's not a rejection. It's deliverance. I'm making the land clear. For the new one, I'm making room. For what is real, light, and enduring. You tried to repair what was already in ruins for too long. Now, under my guidance, I teach you how to construct something new. I own you. And I protect what is mine. I defend. I repair. When the adversary saw you broken, he believed he had won. However, he didn't rely on my help. He didn't rely on his religion. Has the bravery to keep on despite being harmed. He didn't think you would hear my voice and start the mending process. However, you did. And there's no turning back now. Because I always finish the task I start. And I've only just begun the excellent job I started in your spirit. The discomfort will subside. The burden will be lifted. And a feeling of relief will come over you. Rest in peace and go to sleep. You'll lead a modest life. Additionally, you will never again treat emotional scraps as banquets. So I'm giving you back your honor. And your freedom with it. You will know when it's true love. Because serenity comes from what is from me. You become closer to your best self when you do what is rightfully yours. What is my frees you, it does not constrain you. Share this message with someone who needs to hear this truth as well, if it is helping you to clear your head, open your eyes, or feel your soul. Like you, hundreds of sons and daughters are attempting to use the hands that inflicted the anguish to heal wounds. However, you may be the tool I use to rouse others. Grab this light. Share this concern. Be the link that connects someone's suffering with freedom. You won't go through this suffering again. Because you now understand. You see now. You get it now. Choice follows comprehension. Decide to keep listening to me. Decide to leave things that don't make you feel better. Decide to have greater faith in me than in human assurances. You will look back and see why everything had to be the way it was because of how light, pure, and different what follows. Breathe deeply. The subsequent phase has already begun. And the only people who may enter there are those who are prepared to encounter what comes from heaven. You allowed them to go too far. Access that shouldn't have been granted was made possible. When he ought to have asserted himself, he remained mute. And I witnessed everything. I saw that you meant no when you said yes. He was not cured when he forgave. He opened doors out of concern that he might come out as insensitive. Now, however, I am here to re-establish something sacred, your boundaries. Because people lose themselves when they don't know how to defend themselves. Additionally, I don't want to see you lost once more. Limits are not barriers that keep you out. You are protected by these fences. These indicate that you have mastered the art of self-love. These are spiritual statements that you will no longer give your whole self to others who only give you part of yourselves. And no, admitting that something is unhealthy for you is not a sign of pride. Walking away from something that hurts you is not selfish. It's compliance. Because I never asked you to be a martyr for a tale that depletes, erases, or disturbs your tranquility. Saying no without feeling guilty is what I'm teaching you. Closing doors without feeling guilty. Make your own decisions without fear. Realizing that not everyone is deserving of your affection. That not all people are blessed by their presence. That some individuals are distractions even if they appear to be light. That although they are not from me, certain voices speak of me. And for that reason, I need you to set clear boundaries. Because your life's next cycle will be different. And you can't walk with someone who doesn't respect your boundaries. Miguel keeps fighting. And I'm restoring his sense of value while he severs connections and unseen alliances. Sweet words will no longer be used to influence you. Promises that are never kept will no longer entice you. You won't be so consumed by poverty that you lose sight of who you are. I'm restating its fundamentals. Forming in you the identity that ought never to have been in doubt. You deserve respect. True love is what you deserve. Reciprocity is due to you. And nobody is ready to walk with it if they can't handle it. Because individuals who care for others do not transgress boundaries. Respect. Keep safe. Given out of love, not dominance. And I will not permit this region to be exposed once again now that you are being healed. I'll protect you. However, you will also learn self-defense. You're not going to keep quiet about emotional abuse any longer. The unjustified will no longer be justified by it. Your eyes will no longer drop as though you were always in debt. Emotional surrender is no longer an option. The moment for dignity has arrived. Of adulthood. Of spiritual discernment. Because I want to keep you healed, not just heal you. And awareness is necessary for it. Stance. Placement. Don't be shocked if others begin to find your strength bothersome from now on. With your lucidity. With your choice to stop putting up with what you have previously tolerated. The reason is because you are evolving. It's getting better. It's getting higher. And those who prey on their vulnerability are alarmed by this. However, I'll be with you. Miguel will also be prepared to slash him again if they attempt to approach while wearing the same masks. Because things will be different this time. You won't go back to the same spot this time. As a sign of trust and dedication to the new cycle I am igniting in your life, subscribe to this channel right now if all of this resonates with you and you realize that I am reinforcing the healing I have started. This is a spiritual commitment, not only a technical act. God, I want to hear your voice forever. I'm not going back, is what you're saying. Peace will surprise you from this point forward. With discernment. In a like manner. You'll reflect on past events and question how you were able to put up with so much. And you'll see that it was need, not weakness. You're full now, though. Brimming with my affection. Packed with my truth. Completely me. And the owner of this bows to nothing else. Breathe deeply. You're safe. And you go far further while you're sheltered in me. No, retaliation is not the point. Wishing for bad things isn't the point. Taking matters into your own hands is not the point. Your current circumstances are related to destiny. Concerning alignment. About freedom. It's about how I put you just where you should have been from the start, but you progressively veered off course because of emotional attachments, human expectations, and heart deceptions. Your path is being realigned by me. I'm urging you to return to the initial course. Because what I created for you cannot be stopped by an unsolved relationship because I love you too much. You believed that this individual was the solution. He believed it to be the realization of his pledge. That everything was planned. In actuality, though, you developed an attachment to someone I did not send. Someone who made you feel weak on the inside but charmed on the outside. And you persisted even when the indications began to show. I wanted to think. Making it work was my goal. I also appreciated your time. I understood how painful you were. I waited patiently. However, I now assert that enough is enough. Because you have a mission that is waiting for you and cannot wait any longer. This individual is not your demise. She served as a lesson. A pivotal moment. A mirror that revealed your whereabouts when you were lost. And it's time to let go, regardless of how much you cared, loved, or believed. Not because you despise it. But because you now get it. You know you can't sacrifice yourself for someone you care about. That you cannot distance yourself from me in order to become closer to those who deprive you of your true self. You've matured. He was raised in quiet, suffering, and uncertainty. He was raised on the days when he wept incomprehensibly. When he wondered if it was worth going on, that's when he grew up. Now that you know all of this, I can tell you that it's time to embrace the new. To keep insisting on a cycle that just repeats itself is unfair to your spirit. You weren't brought up to live in circles by me. I made you to progress. And sometimes it's necessary to leave folks where they are in order to move on. Because if someone doesn't want to go with you in the correct way, you can't take them. I'm not a half-hearted God. I never make unfulfilled promises. I don't deal with ambiguity. Peace, clarity, and lightness accompany what is mine. And you already know that it wasn't from me if that call produced more uncertainty than guidance, more suffering than enlightenment, and more darkness than light. And it's not your job to demand if it wasn't from me. Now it's your job to trust. Have faith that what I possess is superior. Have faith that I understand exactly what I'm doing. Have faith that, despite the fact that it may feel like you are missing something today, you are actually being shielded from something that only I am aware of the potential consequences of. It's not about who departs, you must realize. Who remains is the key. And the only one left is me. I've always been the one. In each and every tear. In each quiet. You prayed for clarity in each of your prayers. I was present. You were heard. I responded to you. I now lead you. Stay away from painful things. Near what heals. Above and above your expectations. It will hurt, too. Every true farewell is painful. On certain days, you'll want to return. You'll see pictures, hear music, and experience nostalgia. But in those times, keep in mind what I said, destiny, not retaliation, is at play. Furthermore, his destiny is too tremendous to be derailed by someone who is unable to appreciate his worth. The discomfort will subside. Time will mend. What appears to be the end of your life today will be remembered as the most important beginning of your life tomorrow. Loving didn't make you fail. It was okay for you to try. Now is the time for you to make your own decision about me. It's not selfish, either. It's compliance. It's a sign of spiritual growth. It's faith. Because it's simple to trust me when things are going smoothly. You know who I am, though, because you trust me when I take something from your hands. I am also your father. Your protector. Your defender. The person who never fails. That is not a sign of abandonment. Only when a much larger one is ready to open does that close a door. Take a breath. There has already been liberation. It's time to go for a stroll. Because what I prepared calls for eyes forward, a light heart, and free hands. And I'm going to take you there. Something is going on in the spiritual realm when you hear this word. There is a movement taking place in your favor, even if you are blind to it or cannot see it with your own eyes. For you, heaven is at war. Not only has Archangel Michael been dispatched, he is currently engaged in combat. Additionally, you're fighting against your own demons rather than other people. Against the emotional currents that continue to drag you back to the past, against the strongholds that developed in your mind, and against the lies that you took for granted. This message is not being sent to you by accident. The moment for intervention is now. Now you're facing what held you immobilized and caused you to always return to the same mental state. I am aware of the voices that attempted to drown out yours. The recollections that play back in your head like old movies. The words that were spoken then and that still reverberate inside of you now. Miguel is currently removing those roots, though. These voices are being broken. It involves releasing your spirit from the imprisoning environment you have been in without being aware of it. Some ties are invisible to you. Words that opened spiritual portals when they were voiced in sensitive circumstances. Emotional bonds that led you to take scraps of affection as love. After years of repetition, cycles always come back with new faces. Heaven is telling you now, though, that this repetition is over. Your relationships will no longer be governed by this suffering. We are now breaking the habit of waiting for people who don't appreciate you, giving until you are worn out, and loving till you exhaust yourself. You believe that you were capable of managing everything by yourself. In actuality, though, you were exhausted. I also witnessed it. I witnessed you waking up weak. I could see when you tried to follow, but you always appeared to be caught within. I observed when you believed that you may be the issue. However, it wasn't. The loads you were carrying weren't yours. Emotionally charged obligations that weren't yours. You never took the time to cure the wounds, thus they refused to heal. And now, I say, the moment has come. It's time to open up to the sky. It's time to let Miguel accomplish what you attempted to do yourself. You don't have to fight by yourself anymore. You don't have to defend, explain, or justify yourself anymore. Your protection is me. And to protect you, I raised angelic troops. Because you are too significant to remain depressed. He is too cherished to be mired in recollections that undermine his faith. He has also been selected to keep strolling in the same desert. God is fighting for me and I choose to trust, is a remark that you should leave right away if you believe that this conflict is genuine and that this message is for you. This is a prophetic deed, not merely a remark. A spiritual declaration acknowledging the presence of heaven. That you're not by yourself. That you are currently being favored by a stronger force. I'm freeing myself from guilt. I'm severing my emotional ties to the past. The voices that made you feel inadequate are being silenced by me. Memories that simply serve to remind you of failure are being erased. I'm reviving your heart, re-establishing your spiritual awareness, and reconstructing your mind. And you are being touched by my spirit as you listen, as you consent, as you open. It's more than simply a word. It's getting better. It's freedom. It's a fresh start. Breathe deeply. Allowing it is the only thing you need to do. Let me take charge, clean, and change. Since I continue to fight for you. And you are secure today with Miguel leading the way and my love around you. Now the fight is being won. The period of tranquility that follows will be unlike anything you have ever known. Remain steadfast. I agree with you. And no one can beat him when I stand up for him. Even if you can't see it now, you are winning. And in the following paragraphs, I will demonstrate this for you. Now don't stop. For you, the sky never stops moving. You have long been pleading for healing. When no one is around, he had prayed in private. You've been suppressing your tears while wearing fake grins. Despite feeling a hole that no amount of effort has been able to fill, he has attempted to keep up his routine. And I can tell you with confidence now that the mending you so desperately wanted has already started. It started the same minute you decided to listen to me, open your heart, and let my words reach where no one else can. It didn't arrive with spectacle or noise. Even you hide things from yourself, and I got inside. Those discussions that were cut short, those memories you try not to think about, and the choices you make because you're afraid of being harmed again. I witnessed everything. I am fully informed. Nevertheless, my love for you was unafraid of your filth. I will touch you regardless of your embarrassment. No trauma stops me from getting back on my feet. Nothing is dark that I can't light up. I didn't come here to demand that you be restored to your former glory. That's exactly why I came, to repair you. The wounds that have been neglected for so long are being cleaned by me. Scars from improperly managed pain. Your throat was trapped with words. Circumstances that really affected you but that you never understood. People who still have internal wounds but whom you have forgiven on the inside. All of this is now being handled by my touch, my presence, and the anointing that comes from my spirit. They are relieving what was previously a burden. Confusion is giving way to organization. What used to be suffering is now being testified to. Everything no longer needs to be carried by you alone. To seem powerful, you don't have to act like you conquered it. You shouldn't be in disguise. I genuinely desire you. And I can heal more deeply the more truthful you are with me. Because appearance is not the first step toward actual health. First, the spirit. For the choice to stop concealing your pain and have faith that I can and will fully cure you. You've become used to living with discomfort. Walking with wounds exposed. Breaking inside, grinning. However, that period is now over. The period of totality has begun. Of genuineness. Of lightness. Because you will be entire enough to confront everything without losing yourself, not because life will be flawless. The agony that made your chest tight, the fear that kept you up, the torment you frequently experienced. This is all being uprooted. And you made the decision to trust, which is why this mending has started. Because you stayed in spite of your fear. You listened in spite of your reservations. You opened up in spite of the injuries. I'm playing someplace no one else has played because of this. There was no way for a therapist to enter. No human counsel has penetrated thus deeply. However, I get there. Because I am the only one who can love you without permission, all I need is room to do so. Enjoy this message now as an act of trust and thankfulness for the healing that is being released if you sense that this process has begun inside you. Because what heaven is already accomplishing is sealed in the spirit with every click, every gesture, and every choice to accord with my voice. Some pains will just go away, you'll notice. The thing that immobilized you is no longer strong. It no longer has the same ability to make you cry as it once did. This is an indication of recovery. I am behaving, as evidenced by this. Furthermore, no wound will remain open indefinitely, even though some do take time to heal. I don't give up on procedures. I don't begin restorations just to abandon them in progress. Everything I start, I finish flawlessly. Thus, inhale deeply. Take in the air in a different way. Where there used to be weight, feel the lightness. Where there used to be fighting, find serenity. The mending process has already started. And the following step will be much more significant. Because I am the God who transforms suffering into strength, ashes into beauty, and witness from suffering. Remain with me. The greatest is yet to come out. I can guide you now that you have let go of what was holding you back. I can show you what comes next now that you've let go of what consumed your spirit. Rest follows. The rest you are looking for in human promises, relationships, and people, is within me. The rest of not having to battle alone, of not having to prove yourself, of not carrying a guilt that never was yours. I'm going to offer you this rest immediately. Because I am the God who leads in addition to healing. Which guides in addition to restoring. You devoted a great deal of effort to attempting to figure out why things transpired as they did. Why you were so badly injured by someone who professed to love you. Why did you think that nothing was sufficient? You now see, however, that it was all a part of a process. It wasn't a penalty. It was getting ready. It was not a defeat. It was salvation. It wasn't desertion. It was atonement. And I put you back on course today, back on the path, back on the way. Because the days of being confused are done. It's time for clarity now. Furthermore, my guidance is founded on my knowledge rather than your feelings. Additionally, there are things I know that you still don't comprehend. I glimpse the future. I am aware of the ideas that others keep hidden. I am aware of who can accompany you on your journey and who would just cause you to be delayed. Therefore, I firmly and lovingly advise you to follow, even if you still miss it and have longings for it. Don't turn around. Avoid going back to what has already been damaged. I didn't let you go only to have you go back to jail. I let you go so you may soar. The desire will fade. It will get better. Certainty will replace doubt. Since I am directing you. One step at a time. Word for word. And the journey will be easier the more you pay attention to me. The things that formerly held you back are no longer powerful. It's coming out what perplexed you. You are constrained by being broken. To start again with me, you don't need a happy ending with that individual. Trust is what you need. Have faith that I am sufficient. That my strategy is more ambitious. That, despite its first difficulty, my will is excellent, faultless, and delightful. You'll have experiences you never thought possible. People who view you with my eyes will come into your life. You'll pass through areas that appeared too distant before. Because you're ready now. You were strong because you finally let me be your strength, not because you got stronger on your own. And all that is constructed upon me stays there when I am the foundation. Don't stress over time. Avoid comparing yourself to other people. Don't regret your past experiences. You are not defined by what transpired. You are no longer supported by what was left behind. It's time to look forward. For the novel. For the thing that is being born. Indeed, a new tale may be lived without bearing the baggage of the old one. You may dream again, trust again, and love again. Because I prepare when I repair. And all you believed you had lost will be surpassed by what I have in store. You'll experience tranquility. Your soul will be steadfast, not because everything will be settled. You won't have any weight on your chest when you sleep. That void won't be there when you wake up. You won't have to worry about stumbling again. Because I'll be with you. You don't have to be afraid when I am. Your guide is me. Your refuge. Your start and your finish. Breathe deeply once again. This is only the start of something truly remarkable.